Craig Steffen is in the back. I've got Deputy Trevor Banks here from the Lancaster Sheriff's Department. He's going to be speaking a little bit today. Another partner from Lancaster Sheriff Station, Deputy Montestioca. Very good. And we have the core team of deputies, Deputy Inez, Deputy Madrid, and Deputy Kim. And they'll get up here and they'll talk about a few things. What we want to cover tonight is CPTED. And CPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. Now, if you look at buildings as they're being built, or even after they've been built, there's ways to improve the security and the safety of a building by looking at its design and using a lot of different elements such as lighting and landscaping. And we'll go through the proper design and effect of built use environment can lead to the reduction in the form and incident of crime and improvement of quality of life. C. Ray Jeffrey, back in 1971, founded this environmental design concept, and it's gone, at this point, worldwide now. Why do you use CPTED? Utilize human nature and known behavior to deter crime. Most criminals behave in a very similar manner. They go about their business, looking for what we call an easy mark, or a place of business that has not taken steps to ensure the security of their business. We want to harden the target. One of our catchphrases is just that, hardening the target, and it's putting in place the different processes that we talk about tonight to make burglary or robbery of your business more difficult. We enhance the natural surveillance as far as window treatments and landscaping to make sure that we can see in, you can see out, you can see people arriving at your business or leaving your business, so you have a good idea of the clientele that are coming and going. Territorial reinforcement with landscaping and paving the way. You can direct people how they walk to your business. If there's certain areas within your business or around your business that you don't want people to walk, you have a walkway and maybe shrubbery or fencing that will direct them in the direction that you want the traffic to flow. It's used in single-family homes, in neighborhoods, commercial drive-through, commercial storefronts, industrial parks, auto dealerships, and office buildings. Examples of CPTED, in the old world, used to have moats around their castles. They would clear away the forest. They would have walls, gates, drawbridges, things to keep the enemy out. In today's modern world, we have see-through elevators, parking guard stations, improved lighting designs, enhanced surveillance, and planned communities. Most planned communities today, the person who does the design, the original designer of a planned community, looks at these elements and tries to put them into practice before the building's ever built. When they're actually doing the blueprints and they're drawing up the building, they look at safety. They take that into account. CPTED elements, again, natural surveillance, windows. A lot of people want to put the sun, the glare reduction on the windows or the coating on the windows. The problem with that is then you can't see into the building. You want people to be able to see into the building. You want the sheriff's department to be able to see into the building as they're patrolling the neighborhoods. Signage. I know everybody wants to, if you have a storefront and you want to advertise, that's great. You want to get that out there, but you don't want to cover up your windows. You don't want to go any higher than 4 feet high with your signage. Again, it blocks everything out. If you've got somebody working late night, you've got a convenience store and somebody comes in and you've got all your windows blocked out with signage for sales and whatnot, they have something to hide behind. The doors have to be of good caliber to keep the burglars out. Interior lighting is just as important as exterior lighting. You have to have proper lighting throughout the store so that again, we can see in and see what's going on. A burglar is going to look for, or even a robber is going to look for a darkened store where they can go undetected. Parking facilities, make sure your parking facilities are well lit, are in the front of the building. We've got a lot of buildings here in Lancaster, maybe along Avenue I in different areas where the parking's in the back. It's not the greatest of neighborhoods. You're not going to get the clientele that you would like to have with parking that way. People don't feel comfortable coming and parking at your establishment. They're not going to come and do business with you. So you need to think about parking. If it's well lit and it's inviting, people will come and park. Again, access control, whether that be somebody beeping somebody in the door, having a locked door where you have a receptionist that might open the door and allow access. Some of the banks now actually have people going through metal detectors before they enter the banks. The landscaping I mentioned before needs to be low down to the ground so it's not obstructing the view. It still can be very pleasant to the eye and appealing, but it doesn't have to be big and overgrown. Again, all parking areas should be visible through the windows of your establishment. That may be difficult if your parking's in the rear of your establishment. If you don't have a choice, then you don't, but make sure that there's lighting available to the folks. Okay. Screened or concealed dumpsters, but don't create a blind spot. Again, you've got people that go through the rubbish. You want to take your trash cans. If you've got the big roll-off bins, you want to secure them somewhere where you don't have people picking through them. Over off of Avenue J and 20th Street, the Walmart parking complex over there. When I was out in the field, I was out late one night and I saw somebody leave from one of the roll-off bin container areas. They were actually living in the concrete area where the bins are stored. So again, you want to have access to those to your employees. Have them locked with key. If you're using it with multiple locations, make sure you guys all have a common key that you can get in and out and lock it up when you're done. Main entrances, high-profile areas, again, allows for greater visibility. Cash registers, very important, whether you're during business hours or after hours. You want to have your cash register somewhere near the front of the store where it can be seen from the outside. If you have cash registers that are not being utilized, leave the drawer open, even during business hours. Leave the empty drawer, leave it open. At nighttime, you want to make sure your drawer is empty and open. A lot of people will put money in the drawers for the next day, put a couple of $100s in, so whoever's opening up in the morning has a few bucks in the drawer. Bad idea. You want to leave that drawer open, exposed to the front, so if somebody's walking by, they see the register, they see that it's open, they see there's no money in it, there's no reason for them to smash the window and come in.
Yeah, another note on the cash register issue, if I might, leave your cash register open, leave a light above the cash register on so that if they're walking by and they're looking in, they can see that there's nothing in there. We've had several businesses have, cash registers are very expensive, I'm sure as you know. They've had their cash registers totally destroyed for nothing. They empty the drawer out and then push it closed, and the bad guys don't know there's nothing in there until they get it open.
Okay. Avoid fencing and walls, landscaping that may obstruct the visibility and provide a hiding place. And that goes with your homes too, as well as your businesses. Many times we take burglary reports where you've got a large hedge in front of a home or a business. That just allows them to go in and do what they need to do to break in through a window or a door, and they're concealed. That's what you want to avoid. Ensure any public payphones are in a highly visible area. Remove payphones completely if possible. Today, most people have cell phones. The people that are coming to use your payphones are probably people you don't want around your establishment in the first place. So if you don't have to have the payphone there, it's a good idea to get rid of it. Again, natural surveillance. Here's a picture of a storefront. Windows are nice and clean. The register's at the front. I'm not crazy about the way he has his back to the front of the store, personally, but they do want the register and the desk at the front of the store. I would probably turn it more to the side I don't know what your opinion of that is, but
Yeah, I agree. It would give give your employee an opportunity to not only observe the store, but also the parking area in the front.
Jim, if I can just add quickly, can you flip back to the picture? Also, you don't want your register, that one is close to the front door, but in general, we don't want you to have your cash register to have easy access to the front or back door, any door at your store location, because in this case, it is pretty close. Someone could come in quickly and obviously get out quickly. Same with expensive items. This picture, it looks like it's a bakery, but if you have a lot of expensive clothing or whatever type of business you have, you don't want the more expensive items located close to the doors as well. We call that a quick grab and go.
yes. Got to turn your mic on. Yes, sir.
Hold on. Hold on. Go back to that picture real quick. Oh, cameras. If you have surveillance cameras, just be aware. One of the seminars we went to just a couple weeks ago is that they recommended that when you have a camera, don't point it to where it's going to be facing the back, because you actually want to get the perpetrator. So have it face a little bit more down towards the area that you want, because they're not going to go in the back unless you have a back door. Okay? What we're trying to basically say is just, if you have a camera and it's situated in a way where it's only going to get half of the body, it really does us no good. Make sure that you try to get at least a full body shot, and also the height
On the marking on
on the door.
Details on the doors.
Let me look at the notes again. But
The height chart.
The height chart.
Right.
That way, because to you and I, we could say, Craig over there is, 5'4". No, well, he's more like 6. From far away, you can't see. But if you got that little bar right there, and it goes by a height chart, it goes by 5 feet, 5.5, 6 feet. That way, you can give an estimated height. So when we show up, we can say how tall was he? Well, he was about that bar up there. It's just something to think about too. Sorry, Jim.
That's okay.
And you brought this up. The other thing with your surveillance cameras, obviously you're running a business and we're in tight economic times and money's tight. If you can only afford to have one real good camera, have that camera inside your store at the doors. Because if someone's going to come in and rob you, he's going to walk into your store as nonchalantly as possible because he doesn't want you to think something's up. Usually the best pictures we get of suspects are when they come into the store. Before they put their hoods up, before they get their guns out, they're just being cool because they're scoping the place out. That's generally our very best picture.
Okay, again, looking at windows, I talked about dark out tinting. You don't want it. You want to avoid that at all costs. Consider tints that reduce the heat and the UV without reducing the visibility. Maintain visibility of the cash register area from the parking lot and street areas. Again, as people are walking by, they can see whether somebody's manning the register or whether the register is empty. Keep high-value items, as Shelley had said, away from the front of the store, front windows. You see jewelry stores all the time at night. They take all the jewelry out of the front windows because the smash and grab. But anything of high value, you want to move to a special location further back in the store. And that serves a dual purpose because it makes people walk through your store to look at the merchandise that's maybe further back in the store. They get a better look at what's in the store to begin with. Okay, keep the signs no more than 4 feet from the ground. The doors, height chart, as Monty had mentioned, make sure that there's a height chart on there. Door cylinder, double deadbolt. Glass panel has to be at least 40 inches from the lock so they can't smash the window and reach in and undo the deadbolt. A lot of times, whether you have alarm systems or not, they will smash and go in. They don't care about the alarms all the time. if they think they can get something quickly and get away. Door hinges are always installed on the inside so they can't be removed. I did a security check on a home recently. It was in an older neighborhood of Lancaster, and the garage door, the entry to the garage, the hinges were on the outside, and one of the things I pointed out to her, this is a very easy way for people to get access. They can just pop the hinges and take the door right off. Lighting applications reduce the opportunity for crime. They increase the witness potential, the possibility of identification, and the potential for apprehension. Place security lighting with a purpose in mind. General illumination to deter loitering and vandalism. Bright, high color resolution to encourage the use of and interaction. So if you want to bring people into your area. And then unflattering monochromatic light to discourage interaction. Incandescent type of lights are a low initial cost, provide good color retention. They have a short lifespan, most expensive compared to other lighting sources. You can get mercury vapor, which emits a white color with a slight purplish tint, more effective than the incandescent, used mostly for exterior lighting. Most street lights have been MV lights. They have a long life, 24,000 hours. Good color, provide light in reasonable distance at standard heights. You can go to fluorescent. I think most of you have, if you have a storefront, inside the store you probably have fluorescent lighting. Good color, they last pretty long. Temperature sensitive, and we have very dramatic changes in temperature here in the high desert, so something to think about. Cannot project light over long distances, and they're commonly used for indoor and office lighting. Got the metal halide, emits a very white, intense light. Short life compared to the mercury lamps. Primary application is where color retention is primary importance of burning hours are low. Used in security applications. You have a high-pressure sodium vapor, popular for your parking areas, roadways, buildings, industrial, commercial. Constructed the same principle as mercury vapor, but emit a warm golden color.
Let me jump in real quick on that. Again, and I'm going to go back to the conference we just came from. When you walked in, I don't know if you noticed, but did you notice the yellowish type light that we have out here in City Hall? Which are good, and don't get me wrong, they're good lights. But if you have a business, there's a little bit of a problem. If you take one of those lights and you do your whole parking lot in that color, if you were to take a blue color, it's not going to show up blue. It's going to show up black. If you take a brown color, it's not going to show up brown. It's going to show up black. For whatever reason, that light, when I went through that class, it makes the color darker. So what they told us to recommend business owners that if you can afford, do the white lights. Obviously, you can see all our colors, but if we were to change those lights to that color, you'd have a hard time. They're a little bit more expensive, and I understand that, but if you want to get a good description or you want to be able to identify somebody, try to stay away from those lights if you can. If you can't, understandable, but again, those lights will give you that kind of dark effect, even though it looks good and what have we, but we recommend, well, at least they recommended that we try to push the white light, not so much the yellow, the orange or the yellow light, whatever that is. So just kind of keep that in mind, because if you can, it'd be kind of silly, just go out, take a blue shirt or something like that, a blue flannel, and you'll see what I mean. And then go to another parking lot where there's a regular white light, and you'll see that color will actually stand out more than if you use that light there. So, sorry.
Good. Your parking facilities, clearly identify visitor parking and parking for your employees. Provide walkways leading to designated entrance facilities. Again, this is controlling the flow of traffic in your parking lot as well as into your establishment. Okay, maintain sufficient lighting in parking areas to allow natural surveillance, again, so you can see out the window, they can see in, the sheriff's department can see in. Access control, it denies admission. If you have doors, shrubs, Fences, gates, locks, bars, alarms, and guards. Okay, create perception of risk. Again, they're looking for the easy mark. You want to harden the target. You want to make it look difficult. If a robber or burglar is going to have to spend a lot of time and a lot of energy to burglarize your store, he's going to go elsewhere. He's going to look for the easy mark. Deter crimes by moving, again, to easier targets. Talked a little bit about landscaping. You know, it's beautiful, of course. It defines space, provides shade. You can use all the natural materials. Up here we recommend get landscaping that is designed for the high desert. Get the low water, low maintenance landscaping, the cacti, the rock. I mean, I've seen some done really, really well. If it's done right, it's really pretty. And then at the same time, you can save water. We've got a real issue with water in the valley, so all business owners ought to be very concerned with that fact and look at their landscaping design. Walkways and lawns, areas symbolize an okay area to walk for people. Okay, rocks, bark, ground cover, shrubbery. Those are personal areas or areas that you don't want people to walk in. Okay, and that's it for SEPTED very quickly. Employee awareness was on our agenda, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, there's a little handout that was in the back, robbery prevention tips. Now, your employees are your front line to any kind of burglary or robbery that occurs within your business, and you really have to make sure that they're well informed and they're trained properly, not only to protect your investment, but to protect themselves. And being their employers, they work for you, it's your responsibility to make sure that they're safe. So you want to take all precautions necessary. As it says on the front of this, crimes to businesses, it's burglaries and stuff that really cost you guys a lot of money. A robbery with somebody coming in with a gun to steal some money, you're probably not losing a lot of money to that type of crime, but what you are doing, you're putting your employees at risk, and that's what you've got to take into account. Simple preventative measures that can be put in place, just your daily routine, what you're doing. You don't want to have a routine where you go to the bank at 10 o'clock every morning to drop your money. You don't want to carry your money in a money bag or a bank bag. You want to vary your routine. You want to put your money in a nondescript type of case to carry it to the bank. Don't open the business before normal hours or keep it open extended after hours. It makes you more susceptible to crime because people know what your hours are. They know what time you normally open. They know what time you normally close. So if you're open late, even if you have paperwork to do, you don't want to stay in the back of the business for an extra hour because they're going to be aware that it's probably just you, the boss, that's the only one there doing paperwork after 10 o'clock at night when the rest of the employees have gone home. So something to keep in mind.
And one other thing on the landscaping, to keep people out of areas that you don't want them in, you can use like prickly bushes or rose bushes to keep them out of areas that you don't want them in. That works out real good too. So.
Absolutely.
And can I also add, we tell our neighborhood watch groups, but the same applies for businesses, that, sorry, I'm doing work at the same time. Also, you want to make sure your shrubberies, plants, whatever types of trees you have, that you don't let those overgrow and become hiding places. And also, you don't want them to grow above any windows that you have. Same thing, like I mentioned, we tell our neighborhood watch groups, if, let's say, this desk is the bottom of the window and I have shrubs, I don't want them to grow above the bottom of the window sill because someone could actually hide and try and break through the bottom of the window. And any passersby wouldn't see the person because they're being hidden by the shrubbery or the trees. So keep that in mind as well. Thanks, Jim.
No problem. Again, train your employees. Greet people as they come into the establishment. That only, it helps you on a lot of different levels. Not only does it start an interaction with the people that are coming into your establishment, but it also lets them know that they've been identified, they've been recognized. Somebody that's coming in and thinks they might look to steal something, the minute they walk in the door, if your employee says, "Hi, how you doing today? Nice to see you again," they go, "Okay, well, I'm being watched." So have your employees take the time to address people that come in. Okay? Encourage non-cash transactions. I know that's hard to do, but a lot of people have, the debit cards or the credit cards now. I don't know of any businesses that are solely non-cash. Or do you know that they? Yeah, most of them accept cash no matter what. But it is one of the trainings that they try to get businesses to do if possible. Keep the doors locked at all times. Have an electronic buzzer that buzzes people in. Okay. Visibility. We talked a lot about visibility. Make sure that your employees know about it, that they're watching, that they are looking at the parking lot. As Trevor indicated earlier, if they're positioned in such a way that they can actually look at the parking lot as well as the store at the same time.
On that note, getting back to training your employees, train them to be good witnesses too. And it doesn't take a lot, but we've had several robberies or incidents or smash and grab burglaries or even something as insignificant as a beer run, where they'll run in and take a 12-pack of beer and run out. Well, we'll have employees tell us, he was wearing blue pants, and they can't tell us anything else. They can't tell us what kind of shirt he was wearing, what his race was, what his hair looked like. Well, the problem is a lot of times when they're running into cars, and when we're passing them, we don't see their blue pants. All we see is about mid-chest up.
Right.
Train your employees to start at the top of their heads and take that mental picture on their way down. Don't start down and up. So, and it's kind of a hard thing because psychologically, you're scared they'll want to look down at the ground. I'll pretend it's not there. Train them, have your employees get that mental picture from the top down.
There's a couple of handouts in the back. I think Craig may be handing them out. One is a blue sheet that talks about being a good witness. The other is a handout that actually gives you the type of things that you need to check off. You're in the midst of being burglarized or somebody with a gun. It's very difficult to remember all the different things that, what do I need to look for? What color is his hair? What color shirt? This gives you a list, really a checkoff list that you can go through. Something you might have at the front counter where your employee can grab it and quickly jot down things. But it's a good reminder for them. What do I have to remember? What do I have to tell the sheriff when they arrive? And again, you don't want to confront anybody. Make sure your employees are well aware of that. Whether if somebody comes in to do a beer run, as Trevor said, let them take the 12-pack and go out the door. Don't ever chase them out the door. Don't try and stop them. It's not worth the few dollars it costs for the 12-pack of beer that they're going to take.
And Jim, if I could add, that's one of the benefits of becoming a Business Watch program member. We can come out, Jim, Craig, or myself, along with Deputy Montez Dioker, another deputy, the Corps guys. We do training, and it's free to you. So if you want us to come out and do counterfeit currency training, training for your employees, covering some of the things we're covering tonight for their safety, and so you know what to teach them as well. Anything related to safety for your business, we can come out and do training for you.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. The next couple of pages on here, it mentioned access tips. We talked a little bit about that. Cash handling. You don't want to have a lot of cash on hand. You want to make sure that you're making periodic drops to a safe if you are handling cash. Ensure that your employees are doing exactly that, making drops. Most of the stores require, if you take in a $20 bill to get change, you've got to make a drop. So, robbery reaction tips. Cooperate with the robber. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Tell the people to cooperate. Alert other employees through some kind of predetermined signal. If you have a button that needs to be pushed, make sure you can get to that emergency button and have it pushed. so that the burglar or the robber can't see it. Again, take physical characteristics, mark a mental note of what the person looks like so you can give a description. Notify the sheriffs immediately, and don't discuss the events with anybody else until you've spoken to the sheriff, because you want to have a clear recollection. If you start talking to people about what happened, they're going to give their input, and it will cloud your judgment. You need to keep it clear in your head what it is you saw. Let them talk to the other person. They will determine from the different descriptions given what the suspect information is. Okay. Now, I've got a couple of, I wanted to have Mike and Trevor come up and maybe answer some quick questions and talk a little bit about crime trends that are going on in the Valley recently.
Well, first of all, good evening, and thank you for showing up. It's important to you, it's important to us, so thank you. My name is Deputy Michael Monstioka. I'm Community Relations Crime Prevention Officer at the Lancaster Station. Detective Banks is in charge of burglary, and I just want to take a couple minutes just to let you know what's been going on. On the way over here, my sergeant said, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to go and do a business watch. You know, why? What's going on?" I guess over the weekend we've had a rash of burglaries, and it was for a while copper wire and precious metals. Well, now they're stealing the fire hydrants. As I was leaving to come here, the sergeant's doing this. He got 2 more. Okay, so that's up to what, 12, 13? 13 hydrants over the weekend. And this is happening in the undeveloped residential neighborhoods, or just anywhere there's a fire hydrant.
It's the new construction sites.
Yes.
Before the lines are charged.
The reason we're telling you this, and I know, when they told me this earlier today, I kind of giggled, because copper wire I can understand, because no big deal. Catalytic converters, because they've got the
You've got the precious metal
in there. But when I heard the fire hydrant, first thing I thought of, well, that's going to leave a mess because there's a bunch of water. Well, no, they're actually taking them off before, like you said, they're charged. Just keep that in mind in case you happen to go to one of these new developments. Oh, look at, new houses, and you see a car out there with someone, he's not obviously from the water company. Just be mindful that they're stealing fire hydrants now. Okay?
Monty, could I add
Yeah.
quickly? Even though they've occurred mainly over this past weekend and few days in the construction sites, please keep your eye open anywhere in the city. And actually, we had this rash over the weekend, but I actually have seen reports on the news over the last month. It's not just happening here in Lancaster, but throughout LA County and the state, as well as nationwide. So I just want to verify it's not just happening here.
Yeah.
But please keep your eyes open, and just as we ask you to report any crime or suspicious activity, if you see someone suspicious next to a fire hydrant, please call it in.
So, again, it's for your information, and if you need to find out any more, please feel free to call the station. Get a hold of me or anybody here at the city with Shelley, Craig, or Jim. But along the lines of the burglary, too, is everybody's aware of the burglary suppression unit we have with the truancy car, and those guys have been doing a wonderful job as far as taking people to jail, recovering.
Well, you know what? Is everybody aware of the burglar suppression team, the truancy car?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, well, good. They're getting out there. I'm just kind of touching on it real quick, but, Detective Banks will go over it. But, with that team in place with the burglary and the truancy car, they've actually, done a lot of work that the normal patrol deputy wouldn't be able to do. The follow-ups, the talking to the witnesses and victims. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and have Detective Banks take it from there.
Well, thank you and welcome. We have the burglary suppression team. The truancy car consists of it's a 6-deputy team, and the truancy car specifically focuses on truant juveniles, because we found that they're committing a large percentage of our residential burglaries. They're ditching school, and while everybody's at work during the day and their homes are empty, they're knocking on the door and nobody's home, and they're going in and stealing the property that these people have worked so hard to obtain. So they've made tremendous strides. Our juvenile arrests are way up. When they catch these kids, they cite them out, they return them back to school. And, we're making great strides and inroads. And our burglary suppression team allows us the manpower to work a case almost immediately when we get it. And they're just tremendous efforts. We've recovered, I can't even tell you how much property we've recovered because it changes daily. But the arrests our recovered property and our conviction rates are skyrocketed as a result of the team. So they've really done a good job. It doesn't directly, it does directly. It directly affects burglaries to businesses as well as homes. But as far as preventing crime and things that you can do for your businesses and training your employees, obviously a large percentage of the major retailers, their loss is employee theft. And that you have to watch out for. And as far as with the cameras go, like Monty was talking about with the cameras, a lot of the larger retail businesses will review some of the surveillance cameras, and you can hardly see the customers at all. All you can see are the employees. And they do that for obvious reasons because they know where their percentage of their loss is.
Now, Trevor, if we put a lot of these things into place, or if you do in your business, your employees are going to be aware of the things that you're putting in place.
And the reason why we're bringing this up with the Bergen, the truancy cars, if you happen to see these little kids running around, and you know they're supposed to be in school, please call. Okay, that's why they have these units in place. With your help, and business owners, because some of these kids, let's face it, we were all young, we all ditched. Okay, I did, but it was a little bit different back then. I wasn't going out burglarizing people's homes. I went out to to ditch. But I shouldn't be saying that too loud. But it helps if business owners like you take the time to pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what? These kids are supposed to be in school. Can you come over here and check it out? Again, that's where the team comes in, because they may not have school books in those backpacks. They may have someone's personal property. And like I tell everybody with our neighborhood watch with Shelley, is you got to stop and think. If your neighbor sees someone breaking into your house and you know that they broke into your house, you're going to be mad because you can say, well, why didn't you call? No. Well, yeah, that's my stuff. Put yourself in their shoes, You don't want to be going, I just saw Bob's car broken. Oh, well, whatever. Not that it would happen, but, just take the time to call us so we can go ahead and, use the resources to go ahead and, do what we have to do as far as investigating, so.
Yeah, excellent point. And that's true. These kids, they hang out, they're hanging out somewhere when they're not at school. And they're getting hungry and thirsty, and they're coming in for a snack. And these are the same kids. They're stealing a candy bar from you. They're stealing a soda from you. And the other issue that I wanted to bring up, and this is what I was getting to, is, these kids are often caught by the employees, by you yourselves. They're caught stealing the candy bar or the soda or a magazine or whatever and it is a hassle sometimes, but many businesses, smaller businesses, especially for a very small loss, they don't prosecute. They get their property back, they kick these kids out of the door, and then we have absolutely no record of them. We don't have any idea the incident occurred. It's important to prosecute these kids, and I realize that it can be a hassle and it can be an expense. But if you don't prosecute him, if a kid gets caught stealing from your store and he's not prosecuted, do you think he's probably going to come back and try it again?
And he's going to tell his friends.
That's right, because nothing happened to him the first time. It's important each and every time. It can be handled very quickly with a citation, but when we come out, it gives us the opportunity to identify who's doing it and allows us to see who's in the area and what they're doing. It also allows us the opportunity to have a talk with their parents, make sure their parents are aware of what's going on, and it gives us a chance to get them into the station so we can get their pictures and their fingerprints. Because in case we have a burglary later on down the road, it would be nice to be able to match that up. The more people we get in the database, the easier and better chance we have of making the match. So when you have these small thefts, call us and prosecute. Many times, especially with juveniles, they're settled before anybody ever has to take time off work to come to court.
You know, I should have asked this, and now that I'm thinking about it, but what kind of business do you have, sir? Credit union? Real estate? Restaurant? Dealership? Car? I'll come talk to you later. No, kidding. Restaurant? Okay. Even though they're not, you know, the convenience stores, still the restaurants, you have the dine and dashes. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, where, you know, people come in and sit down and, okay, you know what, hey, Jim, take off. Trevor, take off. I got to use a restroom, then to take off, and you're stuck with the bill. You know, same thing. If you think something's not right, call it in. Dealerships. You know, you have someone, hey, you know, can I take this car for test drive or whatever? They may be going out for a test drive, but, you know, they could be casing the place out too. See how many employees are here or whatever. You got to keep an eye. You got to be smart and just kind of keep an eye for that. Again, if that hair on the back of your head starts standing up, that means something's wrong. You need to do something. Even if it's just telling, hey, Jim, you know what? The guy who just came in, just keep an eye on him. I'm going to go take care of him. Or whatever. You know, restaurant. Hey, you know what? Aisle 3 over there, or the table 3, those 3 guys over there. Oh, no, man. That short guy over there, he's nervous. Every time I look over there, he's nervous. You know, just little tips. But we said restaurant, real estate, right? Real estate office. Your girls, I'm sorry, and men, because I don't know who do you have for, but what do they normally do when they come in and they sit down at their desks? What's the first thing they do with their, say this is it, right? They come in. They sit down. Is there a problem with that? Yeah, because if I'm a robber and I see them coming in, hey, you know what? Give me your purse. Well, you know what? She just made herself a victim because the purse is right here. You know, so real estate, you got to teach them too, because the majority of the real estate locations are female. Receptionists, males too, because I'm not saying that they would carry purses, but, you know, they come in, and what are they looking for? They're looking to see how many people are inside. They're looking to see, they're sizing up what you have in there. You know, they're looking around, okay, you know what, hey, I'm interested in that, you know, home whatever. It may be legit, it may not. But again, it's your gut feeling. That's why we're asking you, if you have your employees, teach them this. Hey, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea to bring your purse in here. And go put it in the break room. Same thing with the dealerships, you know. I'm not saying that...
Or supply lockers for
Yeah.
your employees to lock their belongings up.
You know, as a business owner, my wife owns a dance studio. Okay, she has hers in Palmdale. And I'm always constantly telling her, you know, with Shelley, hey, make sure your girls put their stuff in the back, put it in the back. Because one of these days, God forbid, someone's going to come in, give me your money. She's got a till. She knows to only keep $20. Okay, she gets that money, puts it in the back, and keeps it there. I told her, if anybody says, hey, where's the rest of your money, and they're being persistent, just give it to them. Just give it to them. So, as far as her, with what I've been taught here these past couple months, I've been implementing that with her, and it's actually doing a lot better. The girls feel a lot safer because now they don't have to worry about someone coming in. So, you know, even though it's not the convenience store with the candy bar, but you got a restaurant, a dealership, real estate, you have to keep, you know, yourself on the alert, because you never know. You don't want to be that victim. I throw that out to you, and the reason why I thought about it is when Detective Bank was talking, I'm like, we didn't ask what kind of businesses you had. We were just assuming, and I think the better that we know what you have, that way we can gauge on what, you know, you all need. So if there's anything that we've touched on that you want more information, please feel free to call. We will try to get you as much information as we can. But if you're saying, well, you know what, you were talking about this and this and that, I'm trying to touch on what your one business is. So like I said, for the restaurants, the dealership, the real estate, and I'm missing one. What else did I miss? Utility. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Well, and then the other aspect of that, it's not just prevention, but also to aid in prosecution. All of your businesses have computers in them. Do you know the serial numbers on your computers? Do you have them recorded so you can get to them? Does anybody else have access when you're not there?
Don't get him in trouble.
Uh-oh, then you're in trouble, sorry. It's important to have those serial numbers written down. It's important so that we can identify, because when you tell us your Dell computer was stolen, how many desktop computers did Dell make? Exactly. But they only made one with your serial number on it.
Yeah. But you know what? And
if you have a digital cameras, take a picture of it, and take a picture of the serial number. Make a couple of discs, store one at work, store one at home.
And just to add to that, we didn't bring the forms with us, but we have what we call Operation ID, which is exactly what Detective Banks is discussing. We give those out when we do our home security presentations to Neighborhood Watch. So if that's something that you want, give us a call and we'll be happy to put them in the mail to you, or you can come pick them up. But it's not just your computers, it's everything. Your computers, and you should do this at home as well. And like he said, don't just keep one copy, keep two separate, or even give another copy to somebody that doesn't live in the city, a relative or a friend. That way, if God forbid, they get in your house and they take your one copy and you don't have one at your business, at least you have another option, someone else that has those copies. But you should keep them locked up with all your other important paperwork.
Again, we went to this conference. There's a lot of good information. I picked up that brochure, and I wish I'd have brought it. LoJack is now actually doing not just cars and tractors and all that. There's actually LoJacks for your computer. And I was actually really surprised, because I'm going to go online and try to get more information. But if that's something else that you're interested in, I'm sure you can go on the LoJack website, or just give me a call and I'll try to get you the information. Anything to protect your property. When I was talking to the gentleman doing the LoJack, is if the computer gets stolen, you report it, it again sends out a signal, and just like a car, as soon as that IP address pops up, it'll go straight to wherever that server is at, and then it'll go straight to that house or business or whatever. So if you think just buying, $1,200, $1,300 laptop, and you're like, whatever. I don't know about you, but that to me is me. That's me. That's where I got all my information. So I'm going to protect it just like I do my car, because I don't have another $1,200, $1,300 to spend. So if it's something that you're interested in, like I said, get on the LoJack website, or give us a call, give me a call. I'll try to get more information, and I'll be more than happy to, give it to you, send it to you, come by. It doesn't matter. We'll get it to you, though.
A lot of this stuff that we're talking about, go and talk to your insurance companies, because if you put a lot of these things in place, your insurance company may give you a cut rate on your insurance. If you put in the proper lighting and you have the proper security measures, it's really something you need to talk about. A lot of them will have cut rates if you're following certain procedures. So the fact that you're a member of Business Watch, whether that's really going to hold water with them or not, but knowing that you're looking at these different things, they may have some rates that will help you out. So just a little tip. I think we're going to move ahead a little bit. We've got Lancaster core team members here. Lancaster has taken the city and chopped it up into 4 sections, essentially, and assigned each section to a deputy. And we have the core deputies. We have 3 of the core deputies here tonight. And they're going to come up and talk about a couple of different things, letter of agency and warning signs. And if you guys would step up, please, and introduce yourselves. And
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to say thanks for coming tonight. We like to see participation by the community, and that's what CORE was formed to do, was to interact with the city, with the community as a whole. And obviously, we talk to our residents in our neighborhoods, but another big portion of our community is the businesses. We all live within the city, but of course, we all rely on our businesses for everything in our lives. What CORE does is we try to tackle the ongoing problems that you may be facing, whether it is through your home or through your business. If you're having an ongoing problem that just seems to not go away, or you've called the Sheriff's Department numerous occasions, and by the time the deputies get there, the problem's gone or the problem's over, or you're not exactly sure who you need to talk to, we're the ones that you can call. You can send us, you can give us a call, you can send us an email. We're more than willing to help you out. One of the things that obviously we're going to be talking about is the letter of agency that I believe, was it passed out? Did everybody get a copy of this? The letter of agency and the warning sign that everyone seems to have gotten a copy of. One of the things that we're going to talk on here is ways that the Sheriff's Department can help you with your business, and obviously promoting a safe environment for your customers, for you, and obviously for your employees as well. And with that, obviously, the sign that you see here was something that the city came up with. This helps with legal compliance for prosecution purposes. The sign here clearly states that there is no loitering or soliciting allowed on the property, and that you will be prosecuted for violating these laws. One of the other things that is important for us to help you is what we call the letter of agency. This letter of agency is you, as the business owner or the agent or person that's in care and control of the property. This is giving us the authority to enter onto your property, whether you're there or not, to investigate suspicious activity or problems that may be occurring on your property. When you take a look at it, you can see that it has enough room for the addresses and the phone numbers where we can contact you whether or not your business is open or closed. Some businesses that we've gone to when a crime has occurred, they don't know who the owner is of the business or how to get into contact with them. Well, I got to call the manager, and the manager has to call this person who eventually will find the owner who's actually in charge of the property. What we like to see with this is a phone number that's 24 hours, someone that is willing to answer their cell phone if it rings at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's the Sheriff's Department saying, hey, we have your phone number on file, and the reason we're calling you is because we found this at 3 o'clock in the morning on your property. Your back door doesn't look like it was forced open, but it was open, and the deputies went inside and found somebody, and they're claiming that they're allowed to be there and that you've given them permission, and it may not look like they're stealing anything, but we're not sure. If we don't have a way of contacting you, how can we confirm that a crime is actually being committed? And this contact information on this sheet helps us to contact you. But also what it does is if you read on here, it gives us the authorization, obviously, to enter on your property and look for those problems, trespassers, loiterers, anybody who may be stealing, obviously in violation of these two sections. It's 602 of the Penal Code, but it also has the Lancaster Municipal Code section on there. There's two separate things that the Sheriff's Department can enforce. What it also says is that without lawful purpose or with written consent, they are in violation of the law. And with that, this letter is saying that I want them arrested. I'm giving the Sheriff's Department permission ahead of time to arrest these people for violating these crimes, and I am willing to prosecute these people who are committing whatever type of crime is on my property, whether they're trespassing, they're loitering with obviously no lawful purpose, maybe they're inside trying to, who knows, use the water, use electricity, use your phone, use your computers, whatever it may be. They may not be necessarily taking anything with them, but they're still on your property. This is giving us the authority to go in there and make that arrest. This sign, obviously, like we said, 602 of the Penal Code, it does talk about what gives us the authority to make these types of arrests. And one of those is obviously if the business owner, whoever's in charge of the property, says, "I do not want you here, you must leave," then that meets the purposes for prosecution that they're not allowed to be there. If they don't leave, we can, or you can make that arrest, have these people prosecuted. The other one is if the sign is clearly posted that also meets the criteria. It doesn't have to be a verbal notice. If this is clearly posted, that's sufficient enough that that person's not supposed to be there. So at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, the sign is clearly posted in your business window, and the sheriff's department shows up, well, we know that no one's supposed to be there.
Deputy, where do you recommend they post the signs?
The sign should obviously be posted wherever you're going to receive the most foot traffic or visibility, the highest visibility. The front door of your business, maybe in the glass right next to the doors, but somewhere that's obviously easy to see and is not going to be missed because it's hidden down in a corner. Some businesses, I'm sure most of you have seen, will have them actually on the building itself, on all four corners of the parking lot. They'll have their own as well that's posted, no trespassing, no loitering. Once your business is conducted with us, you must leave. The obvious ones are obviously, people see them at 7-Eleven. They're very conspicuous and easy to see. With these signs, these also meet those requirements of posting those signs. So these have been very handy and they look great.
Can I add quickly, Deputy Inez? Those are window clings, just like the smaller business watch one that Craig just passed around. So you can put that, either side will cling. It sticks to the window with static cling. So the point, I bring that up so you know that you can put it on the glass on the inside facing out, and it should stick to the glass. Same with your business watch clings, and if you'd like additional than what he gave you, you can get more from us after the meeting.
Now going over to the letter that we have here. Obviously, if as business owners, you're more than willing to sign this today. We will take this with us, and we'll have it entered by tomorrow. And what this allows us to do is, if we receive a call for service at your business, or if a deputy just happens to be going through your business and stops someone that's suspicious, who's not supposed to be there, we can check this through our records at the station or actually through the computers in the car, showing that there is a letter of agency on file. And what that does is it lets us know right away that the property owner, the business owner, has given us the authority ahead of time to enforce these laws.
And please, take it back to the people that you work with. If you're in a complex, I mean, what we're shooting for, a lot of these strip malls, you've got multiple businesses all in the same location. If we can get these in the windows of all the different stores within a complex, it's really sending a message to these guys. So if you go back and you have neighboring stores that weren't here tonight or aren't aware of this, please bring the information to them, have us give them a call, or have them give us a call.
One of the other things that we obviously promoting with Business Watch is also getting to know the other businesses within the city and obviously the businesses around you. When you have enough people that know each other, especially with businesses, if there's enough information sharing between the businesses as far as who's supposed to be there and when, obviously if your neighbor's looking out for you, you're going to be looking out for your neighbor. It's promoting that community where everyone has a little piece of responsibility for each other. With the signs, the letter of agency, passing that information on just like you would to a neighbor in a neighborhood watch program, definitely will help us help you solve the problems that you may be experiencing in your businesses or even in your homes. And one of the things I like to bring up, obviously, with your real estate business, one of the things that we can do is if you have a letter of agency on file with any of the vacant homes or anything that you have the responsibility or just the care and control of while it's being in the process of being sold or attempted to being sold, if you have a posted no trespassing sign, it doesn't have to be one just like this, but if there is a sign stating that there is no trespassing allowed, violators will be prosecuted. That is sufficient enough, obviously, for prosecution purposes. But what's also important is if we have one of these on file with each of those residents, we can know ahead of time who we can call if we believe there's been incidents of vandalism to this vacant home. If somebody is trespassing, if it looks like, well, we don't know if they're moving in or if they're squatting. Those are issues that we can resolve right away with a letter of agency. Because if this is on file with us and the real estate agency has this on file with us, we will know that obviously no one's supposed to be there.
I'm learning something tonight too. That's great, because there's so many homes out there that are in foreclosure or vacant. If it gives you authority to go in and arrest these people, that's great.
That's all right. No. Funny story too is we did the radio show yesterday, and Ernie, the tech guy, he goes, "Hey, you know what? This weekend I could have used you guys." I go, "Well, what happened, Ernie?" He goes,
Monty, get by the microphone.
"Okay."
Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me better? Now you go. Yeah, you can hear me. What they're doing is, on the vacant homes too, is they're actually going in, using the house to party. Okay, so that's an important thing that you need to know, real estate, the realtor, is that even though you have the lock and everything up there, the old tenant may still have that key. In this case, that's what happened. They got in, they opened it up, and then they charged, and here comes everybody. And I think they ended up calling our department. Our party car went over there, and I'm not talking about, hey, let's go party. Our party car went out there, and, by the time they got there, they broke up the party, and I think they cited a couple people. But just so you know that when you have that kind of stuff, it helps out, because not only will the neighbors know that something's actually being done, you can actually say, you know what, could you keep an eye on the house? If someone's partying in the house, could you call the sheriff and let them know no one's supposed to be here? That way it gives us, again, the authority to go in and do it. I just wanted to share that because, like I said, the guy had shared that story with us, and I was like, well, you know what? Next time, call, we'll come out there. So.
Kicking kids are kind of the least of our problems right now.
Yeah.
Right now, just in our office, we're losing 2 to 3 air conditioners a week.
Also on live, so.
Yeah, we're losing 2 to 3 air conditioners a week where they're going in, stripping copper, wiring, they're getting into the house, stripping the copper. We just had our landscaper call today, and we lost all the copper plumbing out of the house. And I know that as we went through this in the 90s, it seemed where they nipped it in the bud, they were going to where the recycling centers, where they were turning this stuff in. And there were actually some arrests made in the 90s because they're not supposed to buy this unless they can prove where it came from or something like that. And I know from the real estate agent's point of view, we're often too busy to wait an hour or 2 hours for someone to come out and take a report. It's easier to take a picture, tell the bank, you know what, you got to replace the air conditioner, and they go ahead and do it. But and maybe you are aware, but there's a major epidemic breaking out there with stripping of wiring and
Yes.
air conditionings and copper
Yeah,
plumbing.
we're absolutely aware of it, and we have deputies and detectives at the station that specifically deal with that issue. But unfortunately, just like you said, you're too busy. We don't know then. We have no idea. If you don't report it, then we have no idea.
And just to add to that too, you can always go into the station to make a report, but also another resource, and I know it depends on the amount, how much the air conditioners or the copper wiring amounts to, but another tool, and a lot of people, we've been promoting this for over a year, but a lot of people don't realize you can go on the city website and make a police report. So if it's $5,000 or under, that's another way to make a report. But again, if, like you said, you're too busy to wait, then please go into the station to have that report taken. And that's another thing with our CSOs, our community service officers. They are able to respond usually quicker. I can't give you an exact time. It depends on what's going on in the city, but they are the ones now generally going out to take the burglary reports and other type of nonviolent reports, so that way the deputies can focus on the priority and emergent calls. So if you don't get a deputy for a report call, it's most likely going to be a CSO.
Now with the CSOs, I know I went out and took reports as a CSO, and I would get a phone number, and you can leave your phone number at the desk and say, call me when they're going to be there, and I can meet them there. And we will make arrangements to try and meet you.
I mean, it's not always possible, but that's certainly something to do, but it has to be reported.
And just to,
Well, and we understand that, but,
and then it is an epidemic, not just here. It is, again, nationwide and statewide. And we have been getting hit, as you know, for last several months. But one thing our detectives did do is they did go to all the recycling centers here. And they're probably going to be going again because, like, for example, this fire hydrant issue we just had over the weekend. But they were specifically told that they will be held accountable if they are receiving stolen property.
And we are taping this presentation, so if anybody has any questions or comments, or just raise your hand and I'll get the mic to you.
Great. Okay, take it away. We'll touch up a little bit more, finishing up on the letter of agency here. It's not just used, this type of letter is not just used for prosecution purposes or anything like that. If you have an instance of vandalism, let's say you don't have an alarm on your business, or a particular window or something is not covered with your alarm, and it's broken, and there's some vandalism, one window is shattered down, we go in there, there's nobody in there, and we have no way of finding who the business owner is or who a responsible person is. If you have a letter of agency on file, it will show up for us again on the computer that this is on file. We can go back and contact you for after-hours purposes. And even if it's during the hours, maybe you have somebody filling in for you or something like that. Again, it makes it easy for us to contact you to find out what's going on and to get that approval of, does this person belong here? Is another big thing. And on the bottom, obviously, next to the signature line and for your name, it shows that it's valid for a term of 6 months, and that's per the law. This letter will be valid for 6 months. It will expire unless you renew it, or if you don't want our services anymore, you can pull this letter at any time from the Sheriff's Department. And you can either drop this off at the station, you can fax this to the station, mail it, however you want to do it, and we'll make sure that this is on file really, really quick, usually within a day. It will be available. So especially for your vacant homes and anything like that, we strongly recommend this for all of your properties. Make it where your real estate agents, this is their responsibility to make sure that this is filled out. They are the responsible person for that property if they are the ones in control of that property, so that we can contact them in those instances of trespassing, the kids' parties that Deputy Monty was talking about, anything along those lines, even to confirm whether or not the property has been sold and there's a possibility of somebody fixing the place up even though they haven't moved in yet. Anything along those lines, and if the neighbors are calling because they're tired of the problems that they're having on their street, this helps us solve those problems right away. So we highly recommend that.
If I can interrupt you a minute, if you're a member of Neighborhood Watch, we also have you fill out, of Business Watch. We have you fill out a form that is kept on file at the sheriff's station in a folder, too. So if they need to contact anybody after hours, all your contact information is available to them at the sheriff's station desk, and let them know that you're a member of Business Watch if you get burglarized, and they have reference information for you, contact information.
Hi, I'm Deputy Kim with the core team. I handle the southwest area or southwest quadrant of the city, which is basically everything west of Sierra and just south of Jay. One thing that our core team, the captain of our station, the city, totally understands and knows without a doubt, businesses are really the backbone of the city. In order to have you here, we need basically a good cooperation from all the businesses. We need voluntary participation in programs like the Business Watch, and just to open up dialogue, communication between not just the Sheriff's Department, the city, and the businesses, but the businesses between each other. Like your neighborhoods where you choose to live, you have good neighbors, bad neighbors, hopefully mostly good neighbors. But there are those that look out for each other. It's going to be the same way for the businesses. We, at CORE, specifically are interested in quality of life, quality of business, quality of how the city is going to operate when it comes to crime. Everything from the smallest mundane things that you deal with day in and day out, from maybe the transient that has decided to camp out in front of or on the side of your building and just goes away, comes back, all the way to the point where you think that someone might be casing your area or your location. One of the things that we've set up specifically for the city is that we have an email address that's available. We also have I think everybody should have received a green flyer. If not, our information's on that flyer. And what we're able to do that the normal patrol deputy isn't able to do is we're able to respond in more of an operational factor. The deputy that is working a patrol car kind of subjected to calls, subjected to react to what's actually happening at that very moment. And in many cases, in terms of businesses, I can think of one that we received an email on a local business on 15th Street West, was running into an issue with a transient, just for whatever random reason decided to come in to her business on a regular basis. Not every single day, but semi-regular, and wasn't committing a crime, was just simply in her business, technically trespassing at this point, and not in his right mind, scaring off business, making the employees nervous and the owner as well. So our team was able to go and, for lack of a better term, stake out or just be in the area in the area of time that he's been known to respond or to come to the area. And we're able to make contact with him, whereas 3 other patrol deputies had been called on non-emergent calls, but somebody trespassing. By the time they get there, the person's already walked out the door and gone. And so, like we were saying, and like Detective Banks was saying, we need to know about those things so that we can know appropriately how we can help you out with these situations. Between the car dealerships, the real estate, we've already addressed that. In terms of the locations that are vacant or the locations that are being listed, we really want to help out with those things, and we work closely with Patrol and also the numerous specialized teams that are here in the city. The Bird team is actually, we took one of their members for our team and is working on operation with that. We're also realizing that we have the time of holidays coming up, so we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be out shopping, dining, basically spending money in the city, creating revenue for your businesses, creating revenue for the city. And what we'd like to do is make sure that everybody feels well protected. We're already working on bringing in some teams, not only from the city, but we actually have county resources. We're able to bring teams from other parts of the county. That's the beauty of having the Sheriff's Department, to come in and actually create a greater presence. Not necessarily to be so dominating, but just so that people will come to the businesses, feel comfortable being there, knowing that they're protected. We'll also have some numerous amount of undercover or plainclothes operations that are going to be running as well. So you won't even see us in many cases, but we'll be there, just so you know.
One of the other things, obviously, we would like to get all of this information from you as far as problems that you may be having at your particular business or maybe in the center where your business is located. If it's maybe not directly affecting your business, but it might, it's something that we're also more than willing to look at, like Deputy Kim was saying. One of the ways that you can contact us, obviously by phone, you can give us a call. You can send us an email at your convenience whenever you want. We will be more than happy to answer you back. And also, one of the other flyers that's available is a sheriff's assistance request. And specifically, this is for chronic problems, those ongoing problems that you're having at your business, certain concerns that you would like us to take a look at that maybe Patrol just doesn't have the time to do. We're the ones that are going to come in and take care of that for you. So this type of form here, please take one with you. You can either fax it over, you can email this over, or send this type of information in an email to the person listed at the bottom or to the Lancaster Court team, and we'll definitely do our best to help you solve the problems that you're having. And once again, like Deputy Monty was saying, and some of the other members from crime prevention, we are also more than willing to come out to your business and take a look at it and address those problems with you at your place of business so that we can see what you're talking about. We're more than willing to come out at your convenience to help you with those problems. Anything else? Okay. Back to you guys.
If there's any questions, I mean, this is a rare opportunity. You got a detective from Lancaster Station, you've got 3 deputies that are from Lancaster Station, you've got public safety here. Any questions that you might have, concerns, issues, please take the opportunity. Okay.
I had a question. How many are AB Chamber members? 2, 3? Okay. We were asked, and we were actually invited to come to your chamber luncheon every second Wednesday, I believe, second Wednesday, to come talk as far as different public safety and issues that may be there. So there's going to be opportunities. If you have questions, please feel free to jot them down and ask. Okay?
Entirety at one of our lunches, just
Yes.
not 5 minutes, but I think it would be good for the members to actually have this presentation at one of our lunches and give you guys the entire hour.
Yeah, and you know what, Shelley and I have actually talked about it, and I've actually talked to the court guys here. Actually, today we were talking about it, correct? And it would be a good opportunity because the luncheon, especially there with all those businesses, they need to know that the city and the sheriff's department are working together. And I'm going to go back, and you guys are probably going to hear this again, so I'm sorry. It's that triangle effect. You got city, you got sheriff's department, and then there's the businesses. We got to complete that triangle. Without that, like Deputy Inez was saying, the holidays are coming up. Okay, what do we want? We want that money to come in. We want that money to stay here locally. We don't need it to go out to, God forgive me for saying this, down to Santa Clarita. Okay, it's got to stay up here. Yeah, Palmdale. We don't want it to go over there to the south side. It's got to stay up here. So, yes, Shelley and I, and like I said, the core team, we were discussing that on these luncheons, you know, if you can allow us, you know, when we go there, give us a little bit of time, and we can go over whatever you'd like us to discuss. If you're not a member of the chamber, please take the time to go take a look at it and actually sign up for it. It real good benefits, you know, as far as with it's a good networking facility place. So opportunity, thank you. So I mean, I'm throwing this out because we will be making ourselves more visible, and between, like I said, all of us, the city and the sheriff's department, you're going to see a lot more of us, and you're going to get tired of having us pound in, but it's really important, just like the neighborhood watches, you get that phone tree going, because the business that you may be protecting may be your own, because Kim may say, hey, you know what, you got a guy coming down the street, he kind of looks weird, calls Dan, hey, you know what, you might want to call Mike because it doesn't look good, you know, and then I've got, you know, Madrid going over here going, hey, you know what, that guy's going into your business, keep an eye out. So now we started that tree, so when this knucklehead comes in, I can go, hey, what's up? Something happens, I know they're going to call the sheriff right away. So, like I said, it goes back to, you know, what we were talking about. Yes, ma'am.
Just to go back and talk about the truancy car, being a business owner and
No, go ahead.
for a long time, it would also benefit, I believe, the business owners if you could get the schools to participate and kind of give us the schedule as to when the kids are out, if the kids have half days. Fortunately, this time our restaurant is more towards an elementary school, so we don't really have the junior high school kids and the high school kids. But the restaurants that are close to those schools, when the kids get out on half day, I mean, they have to be ready for war, because those kids, they have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And they'll damage property, and they just make a mess of things at times. So I mean,
No, you're absolutely right. We
To-
have,
to send out a blast email for everybody, okay, you know, junior high school, half day, beware, or get ready.
But again, see, that's where participation with the others businesses comes in, and it's important. And if we can start off with, you know, with you saying, hey, you know what, this was a good meeting, next time you need to go to this, or even with the chamber, say, you know what, their presentation, you know what, they're going to come do this. As long as we get that networking between you, the business owners, then that can be possible, because if it's a schedule like that you want, Trevor, we can probably,
Yeah,
right?
To specifically address your question, I don't think that would be terribly difficult. We could get with the school resources unit at the station, and I imagine that would be something fairly easy to provide.
We can even use Business Watch as a conduit to actually transfer that information, maybe even update a website, and you can just check it on a periodic basis. I mean, it really is going to be a matter of the amount of effort that you yourselves are willing to put in. You've already made that effort. You're here tonight. Your time is precious. You're business owners. This is your time, and you've chosen to come here, which speaks volumes for it. It's your surrounding businesses, the chamber members, or all the business members in this valley, and just trying to get everybody to communicate with each other. That's such a difficult thing at times. LA is kind of a standoffish town altogether, but AV's not really like that. That's why I come to work here. I know that it's a small-time community or feel. Everybody's is able to kind of really just be neighbors, and that's kind of how the businesses need to run. I mean, it's obviously modeled somewhat with the Neighborhood Watch. Mm-hmm. We've been involved in that for over a year now, and we're trying to be. We've seen great strides, huge results in that. We're only 4 people. Even the number of deputies that the city is willing to provide for this city is a huge number, but it's minuscule compared to the number of people that you are right next door to. And just being able to, say, foster a good relationship with whatever business is to your left, whatever's to your right, for that matter, if you're, your residents or something in that neighborhood, just so you have that looking out for each other feel.
I made a note, so we'll follow up on that and get back to you.
Shelley,
Questions?
I think Shelley had a couple of announcements she wanted to make before we adjourn.
We have some flyers on the back table. Next Wednesday, October 8th, Lieutenant Johnson, who actually works a special team that works both cities, he has become an expert really on school shooter violence, and so with both cities' support, we're hosting a community presentation next week at the Palmdale Playhouse. Both Palmdale and Lancaster public safety staff will be there to, of course, promote Neighborhood Watch and some of our other programs. But Lieutenant Johnson will be speaking on violence is preventable, and we're going to have local organizations from the Antelope Valley who will be there to offer and act as resources for parents to find out what programs and materials are out there for parents for their teens and younger kids. So I encourage you to be there if you can help spread the word. We've actually mailed out flyers to all the churches in both cities, and of course we've passed on the word to our Neighborhood Watch and Business Watch membership. But I've seen his presentation. It's a great presentation, and again, it's a resource for parents. But like I said on our, we actually now, that was my other announcement, we have a weekly public safety radio show now on 1380 on Mondays. So I was promoting this presentation yesterday. So it doesn't matter if you're a parent, teacher, neighbor, friend, aunt, or uncle. We hope to have a lot of people come out next week. And again, I highly encourage you to come out. It's a great presentation, and it should be very helpful. So that's next week, October 8th. That's Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. And again, we'll have local organizations there as a resource for the attendees. I mentioned our weekly radio show. It's on 1380 every Monday from 11 to noon. Jim, Craig, and Monty have been covering most of the Mondays. I might be on there on occasion. We're going to have other guest speakers. October 13th, Mayor Paris will be on. The core team will be on. We haven't finalized their date, but we want them on there. And you can actually call in and ask questions as well. So if you want to tune in. And then tonight's presentation, and actually all of our community presentations at this point are being taped live. So tonight we're on the city's website live as well as Channel 28. And I also bring that up because I think some of you were at our previous presentation we did on emergency preparedness. Well, not only are we on live tonight, but all of our presentations are being rebroadcast. So you may have seen the emergency preparedness presentation on Channel 28. We've now got a schedule where, so you can see city council meetings, you'll see tonight's presentation rebroadcast. Craig and Jim did burglary prevention last week. So as we add presentations, you'll be able to see them on the city website and on Channel 28. So if you can help spread the word for that. Any last questions? Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it, and we hope you found this helpful. Thank you.